The mess hall of the Galactic Military Academy buzzed with the usual lunchtime chaos. Krogan cadets, towering figures of muscle and chitin, bellowed across tables. Sleek, silver-skinned Sylvans gossiped in hushed tones, their antennae twitching. Humans, still a relatively new addition to the galactic stage, mostly kept to themselves. Among them was Cadet Eva Rostova. Eva wasn't the biggest, strongest, or fastest cadet. What she possessed was a sharp mind, an unwavering will, and a knack for understanding systems, be they computer networks or the intricate social hierarchies of alien species. She was diligently eating her nutrient paste when the Kraconian cadets arrived. Krakow were known for their arrogance and physical prowess. They saw themselves as the pinnacle of warriors, and they made no secret of their disdain for the soft human cadets. Their leader, a hulking brute named Vorlag, swaggered towards Eva's table, his two companions flanking him like armored sentinels. Well, Vorlag sneered, his voice a gravelly rumble. Look what we have here, a little human trying to play soldier. Eva calmly put down her spoon. Is there a problem, Vorlag? Problem? No problem. Just observing how your kind managed to sneak into this academy. You're clearly out of your depth. Eva didn't rise to the bait. I earned my place here, just like everyone else. Vorlag chuckled, a sound that resembled rocks grinding together. Earned? Or did you use your human wiles? I hear you're quite good at manipulating others. Eva's eyes narrowed. She knew what he was implying. The human's reputation often preceded them, painting them as cunning and deceitful. My performance speaks for itself, she said, her voice steady. Vorlag leaned closer, his reptilian eyes glinting. Performance? You wouldn't last 5 minutes in a real battle. Before Eva could respond, one of Vorlag's companions, a smaller but equally menacing Kraconian, stepped forward. With a swift motion, he slapped Eva across the face. The force of the blow sent her tumbling from her chair. The mess hall went silent. All eyes were on Eva as she slowly picked herself up. A red mark bloomed on her cheek, but her expression was unreadable. The Kraconians were laughing, confident that they had humiliated her. But something was different. A quiet intensity radiated from Eva. The other human cadets tensed, sensing a shift in the atmosphere. They knew Eva Rostova was not one to be trifled with. Eva calmly wiped the blood from her lip and looked directly at Vorlag. 5 minutes, she said, her voice low but clear. I'll give you 5 minutes to regret that. Vorlag roared with laughter. 5 minutes? What are you going to do? Cry to your mommy. Eva didn't answer. She simply turned and walked away, heading towards the administrative building. The Kraconians watched her go, still chuckling amongst themselves. They had no idea what she was planning, but they were certain it couldn't possibly pose a threat to them. Inside the administrative building, Eva bypassed the reception desk and headed straight for the records room. She accessed the Academy's internal network, her fingers flying across the keyboard. She navigated through layers of security protocols with ease, her expertise in cybersecurity honed over years of dedicated study. She located Vorlag's file. It contained his entire service record, including his family history, his performance evaluations, and his disciplinary record. She quickly scanned the document, her eyes searching for a weakness, an exploit. She found it. It was buried deep within the file, a minor infraction from Vorlag's early training days. He had been caught cheating during a simulation exercise, but the incident had been covered up by his influential father, a high-ranking Kraconian general. Eva smiled. This was all she needed. She copied the relevant information and sent it anonymously to the Kraconian High Command. The message was short and to the point, outlining Vorlag's transgression and providing irrefutable evidence. Then, she accessed the Academy's public address system. Taking a deep breath, she spoke into the microphone, her voice echoing throughout the entire facility. Attention, all cadets. This is Cadet Eva Rostova speaking. I have just received information regarding a serious breach of conduct by Cadet Vorlag of the Kraconian contingent. Evidence has been submitted to the Kraconian High Command. I suggest you all watch closely. Chaos erupted. Cadets scrambled to find the nearest view screen, eager to witness the unfolding drama. The Kraconians, initially dismissive, now looked increasingly nervous. Vorlag's face was pale, his eyes wide with panic. Moments later, the main view screen in the mess hall flickered to life. The stern face of General Vorlag, Vorlag's father, appeared on the screen. His voice boomed across the hall, filled with rage and disappointment. Vorlag, you have disgraced yourself and your family. Your actions have brought shame upon the Kraconian Empire. You are hereby stripped of your rank and privileges, effective immediately. You will be returned to Krakos in disgrace to face further disciplinary action. The image of General Vorlag vanished, replaced by a static screen. The mess hall was silent, the only sound the heavy breathing of the Kraconian cadets. Vorlag stood frozen, his career in ruins, his reputation shattered. Eva walked back into the mess hall, her head held high. She approached Vorlag, who was still reeling from the shock. She reached out and with a swift motion unpinned the general's medal from Vorlag's chest. It was a prestigious award, bestowed upon him by his father. "Thank you for the temporary possession," Eva said, her voice dripping with sarcasm. "I believe this belongs to someone more deserving." She turned and walked away, leaving Vorlag and his companions speechless. The other cadets watched her go, a mixture of awe and respect in their eyes. The humans, in particular, were beaming with pride. Eva had not resorted to brute force or violence. She had used her intellect, her resourcefulness, and her understanding of the system to defeat her opponent. She had turned Vorlag's arrogance against him, exposing his weakness and bringing him crashing down. The entire incident had taken less than 5 minutes. As she walked away, Eva knew that she had sent a clear message to the entire academy. Humans might be smaller and weaker than some of the other species, but they were not to be underestimated. They were intelligent, resourceful, and capable of playing the game at the highest level. From that day forward, the Kraconians treated Eva Rostova with a newfound respect, and the human cadets gained a greater sense of belonging. The incident became a legend within the academy, a testament to the power of intellect and the unwavering spirit of a human cadet who refused to be intimidated. And the general's medal? It became a symbol of Eva's victory, a reminder that sometimes the sharpest weapon is not a blade but a brilliant mind. In the vast expanse of the cosmos, where stars twinkled like diamonds scattered across a velvet cloth, humanity had finally earned its place among the Galactic Alliance. This meant exchange programs, shared technologies, and, most importantly, the integration of human cadets into the Alliance's prestigious military academy on the planet Xylos. Among the first batch of human cadets was a young woman named Lieutenant Anya Petrova. Anya wasn't the strongest, nor the fastest, but she possessed a sharp mind, an unwavering spirit, and a knack for understanding complex strategies. Her bright blue eyes held a spark of determination that could rival the fieriest supernova. The Academy on Xylos was a melting pot of species, each with their own unique strengths and weaknesses. There were the Krill, towering beings of pure energy, the nimble sylphs with their gravity-defying agility, and the stoic Gorn, whose scales could withstand the heat of a plasma cannon. From day one, Anya faced prejudice. The Xylosians, the dominant species on the planet, were skeptical of humanity's capabilities. They saw humans as fragile, emotional, and lacking the raw power of other species. Commander Zarok, a hulking Xylosian with eyes as cold as glacial,
Ice, made it his personal mission to make Anya's life a living hell. Human, he'd sneer during training exercises. Are you sure you're not lost?
Perhaps you should go back to your little planet and play with dolls. Anya endured the taunts, focusing on her studies and honing her skills. She excelled in simulations, often outsmarting her alien counterparts with her unconventional tactics. But the physical challenges were a different story. The gravity on Xylos was twice that of Earth, making even simple tasks exhausting. One day, during a grueling obstacle course, Anya stumbled. The heavy gravity, combined with the constant pressure from Zarok, had taken its toll. She fell to her knees, gasping for breath. Zarok stalked towards her, his shadow looming over her. "Get up, human!" he barked. "Or are you going to quit like all the others?" Anya struggled to her feet, her body aching. She locked eyes with Zarok, her gaze unwavering. "I won't quit," she said, her voice barely a whisper. Zarok chuckled, a deep, guttural sound that echoed across the training ground. "We'll see about that." He raised his hand and struck Anya across the face. The force of the blow sent her sprawling to the ground. A collective gasp swept through the observing cadets. Such a blatant act of aggression was unheard of in the academy. Anya lay on the ground for a moment, stunned. Her cheek throbbed, and her mind raced. She could report Zarok, file a complaint, but she knew it would be a long and arduous process, one that would likely be dismissed. Or she could do something else. She slowly rose to her feet, her eyes burning with a cold fury. She wiped the blood from her lip and faced Zarok, her expression unreadable. "Is that all you've got?" she asked, her voice dangerously calm. Zarok's eyes narrowed. He had expected tears, fear, but instead he saw defiance. He smirked. "Oh, I've got plenty more where that came from." "Then let's make this interesting," Anya said. "A challenge. Winner takes all." Zarok hesitated. He was a seasoned warrior, confident in his strength and skill. But there was something in Anya's eyes that made him uneasy. "What kind of challenge?" he asked. "Your general's medal," Anya replied, pointing to the ornate decoration pinned to Zarok's chest. "Against, well, anything you want from me." The general's medal was a symbol of immense prestige, awarded only to those who had demonstrated exceptional bravery and leadership. Zarok had earned his through years of service and countless battles. The thought of risking it against a mere human was ludicrous, but the arrogance that coursed through his veins wouldn't allow him to back down. "You're on," he said, a cruel smile spreading across his face. "But don't come crying to me when you lose." Anya smirked. "I won't." The news of the challenge spread like wildfire throughout the academy. Cadets from every corner of the galaxy gathered to witness the spectacle. They watched as Anya and Zarok stood face to face in the center of the training ground, the tension palpable. Zarok, confident in his superior strength, chose a test of combat prowess, a one-on-one sparring match. The rules were simple. First, to incapacitate their opponent wins. The fight began with a deafening roar as Zarok charged, his massive fists aimed at Anya's head. She dodged the blow with surprising agility, using her smaller size to her advantage. She weaved and ducked, avoiding Zarok's clumsy attacks, analyzing his movements, searching for a weakness. Zarok grew frustrated. He couldn't land a single hit on the nimble human. He swung wildly, his strength becoming his undoing. Anya saw her opportunity. As Zarok lunged forward, she sidestepped him, and with a swift, precise movement, tripped him. The Xylosian general crashed to the ground with a thunderous thud. Before he could recover, Anya was on him, her small hands moving with incredible speed. She didn't strike him, didn't punch or kick. Instead, she targeted specific pressure points, disabling his limbs, disrupting his balance. In a matter of seconds, Zarok was completely immobilized, unable to move, unable to fight. The crowd watched in stunned silence. They couldn't believe what they were seeing. The human cadet, the one they had all underestimated, had defeated the mighty Commander Zarok. In a matter of minutes, Anya stood up, dusting off her uniform. She looked down at Zarok, her expression devoid of emotion. "A deal's a deal," she said, her voice clear and steady. With practiced ease, She unpinned the general's medal from Zarok's chest. It was heavier than she expected, the cold metal a stark reminder of the challenge she had overcome. She held it up for all to see, the light glinting off its polished surface. Then she turned and walked away, leaving Zarok humiliated and defeated in the dust. The silence was broken by a slow, building applause, which soon erupted into a thunderous ovation. The cadets cheered, not just for Anya's victory, but for the spirit of humanity, for the underdog who had defied all expectations. Anya Petrova had proven that strength wasn't just about brute force. It was about intelligence, resilience, and the unwavering belief in oneself. She had slapped the prejudice in the face, and in 5 minutes she had taken their general's medal, earning the respect of the entire academy. The era of humans in the Galactic Alliance had truly begun. In the year 2142, humanity ventured out into the galaxy, joining a grand alliance of species known as the United Galactic Federation. They worked together to maintain peace and ensure that all planets thrived. Among them was a human named Mia, a cadet who had just completed her training. She dreamed of becoming an officer and making her mark in the galaxy. Mia was assigned to the spaceship Horizon, which was part of a grand fleet sent to the planet Valoria. Valoria was home to the Veltarians, a proud and powerful race known for their advanced technologies and fighting skills. The cadets were to take part in a cultural exchange program. Mia initially felt nervous. She had heard stories about the fierce Veltarian warriors, and sometimes they were not easy to get along with. As Horizon landed on Valoria, the bright colors of the alien landscape amazed Mia. Tall purple trees swayed gently in the breeze, and the air was filled with scents that made her feel alive. As the crew disembarked, she caught sight of General Tarek, a respected Veltarian leader. He was imposing, with a tall frame and a fierce gaze. His medals and insignia sparkled under the alien sun, and he commanded respect wherever he went. The cadets were instructed to interact with the Veltarians and learn about their culture. Mia approached a group of Veltarian warriors practicing their combat techniques. They looked at her with a mix of curiosity and skepticism. One of them, a tall warrior named Kellen, raised an eyebrow as Mia introduced herself. "What's a human? Like you doing here?" he asked, crossing his arms over his muscular chest. "Just here to learn," Mia replied confidently. "I want to understand your culture and share mine." Kellen chuckled, a sound that echoed through the training ground. "You think you can handle our ways, human? It's not for the weak." Mia felt a rush of determination. "I can handle it. Show me." The other warriors laughed, and Kellen, intrigued by her spirit, decided to challenge her. "All right, you will fight me. If you win, I will respect you. If you lose, you leave here with your head down." The challenge hung in the air. The other Veltarians looked excited. They didn't believe a human could win against their best warrior. But Mia took a deep breath. She had trained hard in hand-to-hand combat. She approached the gym mat with confidence. They started to spar. Kellen quickly overwhelmed her, using his superior strength and skill. However, Mia had a quick mind. She studied his moves, waiting for an opening. After a few minutes, Kellen launched himself toward her. In a swift motion, Mia ducked and swept his legs. Kellen stumbled and fell, losing his balance. The other Veltarians gasped in disbelief. "Again!" Kellen shouted as he stood up, anger flashing in his eyes. They resumed fighting, and this time Mia saw an opening. With a sudden twist, she flipped Kellen onto the mat again. Measured by both skill and surprise, she managed to gain the upper hand. Kellen now looked serious. They fought fiercely, and Mia found a strength within her she didn't know existed. Finally, she landed a well-placed kick, knocking Kellen down one last time. This time, he did not get back up immediately. The other Veltarians roared with shock and disbelief, then cheered for Mia, amazed by her courage. General Tarek arrived, taking in the scene with a stern expression. He stepped forward, examining both combatants. You have impressed us, human. But the real test is not just strength. It is also respect. Kellen pushed himself up and extended his hand to Mia. You fought well. I respect you. Mia took his hand, and the crowd applauded. General Tarek watched, a hint of a smile on his face. You will have to earn more than respect. There is a medal awarded to those of great honor in our culture. It is given by my hand. This intrigued Mia. What do I have to do to earn it? A mission, General Tarek replied. We have received intelligence of an enemy ship trying to disturb our peace. If you successfully assist in taking it down, the medal shall be yours. The challenge was set. General Tarek assigned Mia and Kellen as a team, along with other warriors. They traveled through the skies, facing danger head-on. Mia felt the adrenaline rush through her veins. Every challenge they faced, they tackled together, proving their strength and skills. During the mission, they encountered fierce battles. Mia fought side by side with the Veltarians, earning their trust and respect, forming bonds that transcended their species. Kellen became her closest ally, teaching her their battle tactics, while also learning about human strategies. As they neared the enemy's ship, things became chaotic. The enemy was stronger than expected, and they faced heavy fire. Mia and Kellen managed to infiltrate the ship, and after a tense standoff, they found themselves face to face with the enemy leader. Mia's heart raced.
It was time for her to shine. Together, she and the warriors outsmarted the enemy. Utilizing a clever plan, they trapped the leader and secured peace for the Veltarians. Returning to Valoria victorious, General Tarek awaited them. He was impressed.
You have proven yourself as a warrior. Mia, come forward. With the crowd silent, General Tarek presented her with the coveted medal, symbolizing her bravery and strength. You have earned this by your actions and heart. May it remind you of the strength found in unity. Mia beamed with pride as she accepted the medal, glancing at Kellen and the other warriors. She had not just earned their respect, she had formed a bond that would last a lifetime. Together, they had proven that strength isn't only in muscles, but also in courage, intelligence, and teamwork. The mission had changed everything. Mia returned to her ship with a sense of fulfillment, her spirit soaring. She had embraced her dreams and faced her fears, earning not only a medal, but a place among the proud warriors of the Veltarian race. And as she looked up at the stars, she knew this was just the beginning of her journey in the galaxy. The mess hall of the United Galactic Fleet Academy buzzed with the usual lunchtime chaos. Humans, with their relatively recent addition to the galactic community, still felt like novelties. Cadet Alara Vance, a young woman with a fiery spirit and a sharp mind, stood out even among her human peers. She possessed an uncanny ability to grasp complex concepts, making her a favorite among instructors and a target for the more insecure cadets from older, more established species. Today, that target landed squarely on her back. A group of Grolak cadets, beings with thick hides and an ingrained sense of superiority, surrounded her. Their leader, a hulking brute named Grok, sneered down at Alara. Well, look what we have here, he rumbled, his voice like rocks grinding together. The genius human. Heard you ace the xenolinguistics exam. Pathetic. Humans are all talk and, no substance. Alara met his gaze, her expression unwavering. Is there a point to this, Grok? I'm trying to eat. Grok chuckled, a sound that made several nearby cadets flinch. Oh, there's a point. We Grolak value strength and respect. You humans. You're weak. You haven't earned your place in the fleet. Another Grolak, a smaller but equally unpleasant cadet named Fraz, stepped forward. Yeah, maybe we should teach you some respect. Alara sighed, placing her fork down. I'm not looking for trouble. Just leave me alone. That was the wrong thing to say. Grok's eyes narrowed, and before Ilara could react, Fraz lashed out, his thick hand connecting with her cheek. The force of the blow sent her staggering back, a sharp pain blooming in her face. The mess hall went silent. All eyes were on the scene unfolding. Humans and aliens alike held their breath, waiting to see what would happen next. Ilara slowly straightened, her hand touching her reddening cheek. She looked at Fraz, then at Grok, and finally at the assembled crowd. A flicker of something dangerous ignited in her eyes. "You shouldn't have done that," she said, her voice dangerously low. Grok laughed. "What are you going to do, little human? Cry to your mommy?" Ilara didn't answer. Instead, she took a deep breath and focused. She had spent countless hours honing her skills, pushing her mind and body to their limits. Now, it was time to put that training to use. "I'm going to take your general's medal," she stated, her voice ringing with confidence. The mess hall erupted in laughter. The idea of a human cadet, especially one who had just been slapped, challenging a Grolak, let alone stealing a general's medal, was ludicrous. Grok wiped a tear from his eye. "You? Take my general's medal? You're dreaming, human. It's locked. In my personal quarters, guarded by a sophisticated security system. You wouldn't even get past the first sensor." "5 minutes," Ilara said, her eyes locked on Grok's. "I'll have it in 5 minutes." The laughter died down, replaced by a mixture of disbelief and morbid curiosity. Grok, however, saw an opportunity to humiliate her further. "All right, human," he said, a cruel smile spreading across his face. 5 minutes. If you can get my medal in 5 minutes, I'll publicly apologize and scrub the latrines for a week. But if you fail, you'll be cleaning my boots for a month." Ilara nodded, her expression grim. "Deal." She turned and walked out of the mess hall, leaving behind a stunned silence. The Grolak cadets roared with laughter, confident in their victory. "She's got no chance," Fraz chuckled. "His quarters are like a fortress." Grok simply smirked. "Let her try. It'll be fun to watch her fail." Meanwhile, Ilara was already putting her plan into motion. She knew she couldn't brute force her way into Grok's quarters. She needed to be smart, fast, and precise. First, she needed information. She sprinted to the Academy's data center, her fingers flying across the console as she accessed the schematics of the Grolak dormitory. She quickly located Grok's quarters and memorized the layout, noting the location of security cameras, laser grids, and pressure sensors. Next, she needed a distraction. She hacked into the dormitory's fire alarm system and set off a false alarm. In a remote wing. The chaos would draw security personnel away from Grok's area, giving her a window of opportunity. With the alarm blaring in the background, Ilara made her way to the Grolak dormitory. She moved silently, sticking to the shadows, her senses on high alert. As she approached Grok's quarters, she could see the flashing lights of the security system. The first challenge was the biometric scanner. Ilara had anticipated this. Using a small device she had built in her spare time, she bypassed the scanner by mimicking Grok's unique biosignature. The door hissed open. Inside, the room was dimly lit, revealing a Spartan living space. The general's medal was displayed prominently on a pedestal in the center of the room, protected by a laser grid. Ilara took a deep breath. She knew she had to be precise. Using her knowledge of physics and the laser grid's patterns, she carefully navigated through the beams, her body twisting and contorting in seemingly impossible ways. She reached the pedestal and deactivated the final security measure, a pressure sensor beneath the medal. With a swift movement, she snatched the medal and turned to leave. But just as she reached the door, she heard a roar behind her. Grok stood in the doorway, his eyes blazing with fury. He had seen through her distraction and returned to his quarters. "Just in time. You little thief," he bellowed. "Give me back my medal." Ilara didn't hesitate. She knew she couldn't afford to fight him directly. Instead, she used her agility to her advantage, dodging his clumsy attacks and leading him on a chase through the room. She knew that security personnel would be there any minute. Finally, she saw her chance. Grok lunged at her, his massive fist aimed at her head. Ilara ducked, grabbed his arm, and used his own momentum to throw him off balance. He stumbled and crashed into the pedestal, knocking it over and sending the laser grid haywire. Ilara used the chaos to her advantage, darting out of the room and disappearing into the hallway. She could hear Grok's enraged shouts behind her, but she didn't stop running. Back in the mess hall, the tension was palpable. The 5 minutes were almost up. Grok's cronies were already celebrating their expected victory. Suddenly, the doors burst open, and Ilara strode into the room, her chest heaving, her eyes shining with triumph. In her hand, she held the general's medal. Silence descended upon the mess hall. Grok's jaw dropped, and his cronies stared in disbelief. Ilara walked to the center of the room and held up the medal for all to see. "Time's up," she announced, her voice clear and confident. A collective gasp went through the crowd. They had witnessed the impossible. A human cadet had outsmarted and outmaneuvered a Grolak, and she had done it in less than 5 minutes. Grok, his face red with humiliation, was forced to honor his deal. He publicly apologized to Ilara and spent the next week scrubbing the latrines, much to the amusement of the entire academy. Ilara Vance, the human cadet, had proven that strength wasn't just about physical power. It was about intelligence, determination, and the unwavering belief in oneself. She had earned the respect of her peers, and she had shown the galaxy that humans were not to be underestimated.